Hello and welcome to Premier Cooking. With a new camera, so I look like a clown. Alrighty, so in today's brand new episode, we will be making a tuna burger because we ran out of ground beef. But that's not the point. So, to start off, the first thing we're going to need is the tuna. My tuna came from Aldi, so it's been frozen most obviously. However, we have now allowed it to thaw a little bit, and it is nice and plump and tender like we want. So that's the prerequisite that we want here. We want to make sure that it is all set for cooking. Do this before anything else. All right. Next thing we're going to do, obviously, it's a burger, so we're going to need our bread, but we also want to have a few toppings. So going into the fridge here, we're going to get some avocado, and we'll grab some spinach as well. That'll help out. And lime juice, because that sounds good. Alrighty. Having acquired the ingredients, as you know, mise en place means prepare your stuff before you actually do it, I think. Regardless, next up, we're going to go with an onion, because I think that could work, right? The main part of this dish is that it is entirely pieced together with things that we had in our kitchen. We did not plan this in any way. It is simply just a spur of the moment thing, and I'm hungry. So, the next step, beginning the cooking. While our tuna is thawing, as yours should be, you can follow along at this point. So, we're going to get ourselves the skillet, right? This is going to be our tuna cooking one. So we're going to put this on the front burner, right? What we can do in the meantime is get ourselves a cutting board. We're going to go wood because it's classy and it looks cool. With this, we can then acquire a good chopping knife. So we'll go with the sharpest one we got here. Well, not the sharpest, but the biggest. And we need to peel the onion. So good tip for peeling here is cut off just about both ends there, right? These are trash. What you can do now is really easily get your fingernails, if you had any, underneath this top layer of onion, which is really just, it's not appetizing because, as you may know, onions, of course, live in the dirt. I don't know if you ever met anybody that lived in the dirt, but my experience with worms can tell you that they don't taste good. Regardless, now that we have the onion, we've got to think about this logically. So we're putting it on a burger. So we want it in kind of an onion ring formation. So really thinly slicing these guys. We almost are going to want them to caramelize in the pan, but not entirely, because that would be a bit of a contrasting flavor. We can save about half the onion for another time, so then we can create a meal such as this again. Right. So, looking for the proper pans here, we're gonna go with this guy. Got a large, I don't really know what this is called. It might be a saucepan, not entirely sure. Regardless, we'll take the top with her too. Whoops, that didn't sound great, but that's all right. So we are just gonna let her heat up a little bit. We got our oil in a fancy thing there. We will grab the salt for later as well. And do we have any? We got olive oil. Ideally, you'd want a higher smoke point oil for the grilling, but that's all right. So at this point, we got the heat going. We're going to just spritz down the bottom of the pan with a little bit of oil and place our onion rings right on in there, right? At this point, depending on how cold your tuna was when you got it, it should be just about thawed out. So we are going to light up this boy on high, right? Because we are using the lower smoke point. We're not going to put that in right now. So the other ingredients that we have, the avocado. Like we said, this is that doesn't look so good. Well, whatever. So this avocado we're going to add a little bit later. And the spinach we're doing nothing to because we want to kind of get that crunch element, right? Especially with a burger, you don't want it to just be like blah, mush. Very wise man, Anthony Bourdain, rest in peace, right? He once said, if anything you're doing to a burger, it can make it different in a new way or something, but does it make it better, right? Does adding mayonnaise make it better? I'd say no. Some people say yes. It's all your opinion. In my opinion, what we're doing, well, we're replacing the meat with tuna, so that doesn't really bode well. But regardless, the whole general ideology behind this, right? We want to make it so that anything we add is going to make it better. So we have soft onions, soft tuna. We want a bit of crunch. So, hence, we leave the spinach undone. All right. The avocado. I'm personally a huge fan of warm avocado. I think it adds an immense amount of character to a dish. However, in this situation, we're going to be skipping that out, right? So, taking a look over at the onions, they're coming along nicely. We will grab the tongs here, just give them a little move around just so they're not sticking to the bottom of the pan. There we go. And these guys are going to go for a little while here, right? So, on to the main course here. We're just going to we're going to grab our buns. We went with good old Dave's Killer Bread. Huge fan. If they would like to sponsor us, please, that's like an actual one we'd take. But regardless, going to put that there next to the knife. And we're going to be grilling that later on, however, not right now, just because we don't want a soggy bottom or bun in general. So now that we got our kind of questionable grade tuna, just going to cut her open right there. All right, take it out. And an important part when searing anything is that you don't want it to be wet. You want it to be dry. So naturally, we're running it underwater. No, I'm kidding. We're out of paper towels. This is detrimental. All right, well, we can use this thing. It looks clean enough. So we want it to be dry so that, I actually don't know why, but it helps, I think. At any rate, just going to pat her down there. Oh, this is going to have to be washed because it has raw fish meat on it now. Yeah, if you have paper towels, they're probably better. At any rate, we now have our tuna. We're not going to put any seeds or anything on this guy because that's going to, like, methodology of the burger, right? Don't want it to be overcomplicated, right? Taking a look at the onions now. You can see a little bit of browning going on the side, so we're just gonna flip these guys over. Right, looking nice and crispy. We have a guest coming up. He is gonna get his drink, as always. We can offer him some. Would you care for some onions and/or tuna burger, Father? No, he's got his sustenance from his drink. At any rate, we now have had the skillet heating up for a little bit, so we're going to put on the oil and a little bit here. You really don't need a lot. It's really just for the lube, and everybody likes good. Nobody, ow, that's really, really hot, but props to me. Gotta keep it clean here. Oh, I have not used any foul language yet. And I'm going to keep it that way. Regardless, we have the high smoke point, so it's going to start smoking. Place that baby down. Vent fan going. And everything is looking pretty good right now, right? For not that long. You'd be surprised. But because it is a steak and we're not doing anything with sushi here, we are going to keep it a little bit on the well done side. Getting a presenting plate here. Just gonna go with this good old beauty. All right. So as you can already see, it's getting ow! It's getting done there. So take a look at the onions again. These guys are coming along beautifully. Just gonna mix them up a little bit. And you can see at the bottom of the pan, there's a little bit of a fond kind of forming. What we're actually going to do is come over here and get a little bit of water, right? Take your time with this because you really don't want to overdo it with the water. So a little bit of drops there, and you get the cool stuff going on, right? Mix it up. Oh crap, tuna. Okay, so you get the tuna, ignoring the onions, and you can then flip her on over. Yeah, she's looking well done. At any rate, so we got everything going on over here. Onions coming along nicely. All right, just gonna leave those guys be. Turning the heat down low. They're looking pretty good right now. You can tell when they're approaching what they want to be because they're soft and they're not able to really go anywhere, right? You're just gonna cover that up, retain some heat, retain some moisture, and that's looking good. All right, our tuna is it's a little bit well done, but that's all right. What we're gonna do now is pick her up if we can. Oh God. And we're gonna get the sides here. I'm just gonna hold it on each side here for, you don't need to do long at all. Really just like 15 seconds a side. Just getting rid of the pink on the exterior. All right, and this is purely for aesthetics. If you really want like a raw tuna burger, by all means, but I mean, that's, we make some weird food here, but that's next level. So, getting this here, it's looking pretty good. We're going to reduce the heat down to low, actually, just enough to keep the heat on. Big part of burger assembly is the assembly, right? Huge pieces here. The first thing that you will need is, of course, the bottom. Placing the bottom, you now have big choice. Does any condiment go below? In my case, I'm saying no. Just the tuna, right? Your main meal. Wait, scratch that. We're gonna put avocado on the bottom. So, grabbing a avocado, we're out of forks. Going into, okay, well, they're all dirty. All right, whatever. Grabbing a preferably clean fork, you can grab some piece of avocado. Ultimately, because we toasted, oh God, we gotta get that. Ultimately, because we toasted this, it's going to be able to take on some, shall we say, more absorbable qualities. I don't know what I'm saying. Regardless, it can take things with a bit more moisture. So good, we put the avocado down, then the tuna. I'm gonna sprinkle on a bit of lime Jesus Christ. Sorry. At any rate, next, grab some of the onions here. Just gonna drape those on top. Make sure you're getting the good ones. You can leave the crappy ones for later. And, oh God, I gotta turn the heat off. Turning the vent fan off. Getting the final capping part there. And beautiful. Look at that. That is simply a gorgeous burger. Wait for it. The cross section coming up now. Proper cross-section format dictates that you do not cut on a plate because that will cut the plate and dull your knife. Getting a nice look at that. Oh, look at the steam. Oh my. Tell me that doesn't look absolutely delicious. I can't wait to eat this. We're as we've stated before, we genuinely do eat these articles. This is my dinner. Ignore the fact it's 3 o'clock. But I mean, what more can you ask for? Pretty perfect. I am excited to go off and eat this. As you can tell by the fact that I'm cleaning up. I forgot the spinach.